It's Wednesday, June the 26th. I didn't do a fishing report last week. We've had a Cross Trail Outfitters boys camp going on. We've been taking the boys out fishing and stuff the last 2 weeks, so I've been pretty busy, didn't get a chance to do it. But anyways, the lake level's like right at 917. Water temperatures in the high 80s, you know, throughout the lake, anywhere from 86, and you'll even see some 90-degree water. And I'd like to thank, you know, where I mentioned the Cross Trail Outfitters, we had a bunch of pro fishermen come down, take the boys out fishing, group of 12 for, you know, 2 days each week. But I'd like to thank Kelly Power, Andrew, JP Sell, Bobby Albert, Brian Snowden, Scott Duck, Bobby Shockley, James Watson, for giving up their time and coming and spending some time down here with these kids and showing them how to fish. And, you know, the fishing with the kids was phenomenal. You know, a lot of them were pretty young, so we used live bait on drop shots. And, you know, a lot of the kids in a 4-hour span would catch 30 to 40 fish. So, you know, if you want to take a young kid out fishing, now is definitely the time. But, you know, we had a tournament this weekend, Oak Outdoors. A lot of good quality fish came in, and they came from all different areas of the lake, different patterns. Now, I didn't do too well. It's kind of one of them deals. When I'd get to the right place, I did the wrong thing, or I might be in the wrong place, not doing the right thing. I could make excuses till I'm blue in the face, but I had my opportunities, did not execute well. But sometimes I'm a lot better guide than I am a tournament fisherman. But anyways, we've been catching a lot of our fish, you know, with the kids up here in the James River. And, you know, the fish hadn't been really that deep. And even down lake, a lot of the drop shot fish aren't super deep. But up here in the James, it seems like 12 to about 20 foot deep. And, you know, we're catching them a variety of different ways. We're catching some on football jigs, you know, wobble heads, big shaky heads, a lot of big worms, big jigs are working, deep to like 6XD crankbaits, flutter spoons, big swim baits. And, you know, a lot of the stuff we're fishing up there is just these gravel flats where the channels come up against them. And it's by no means fast and furious. It's a grind. I mean, even in, you know, the guys that did really well in the tournament, it was a real slow bite. You had to be real methodic. But what we're looking for out there is a lot of bait fish out off of these long points. You know, a lot of all the fish are done spawning. So they're kind of moved out there, starting to get in their summertime patterns. And with the water as hot as it is, you'd think a lot of them would be deeper. But they're not yet. They're probably headed that way. But even down lake, when I had been fishing down there, the spoon fish around the docks and even the drop shot fish, the bait seemed to be a lot higher in the water column and the fish than they normally are this time of year. And I think even this weekend, a lot of the guys that I listened to at the weigh-in, you know, Sunday was a completely different day from Saturday. A lot of them had to back out a little bit deeper, whether they were fishing up in the river arms or, you know, down in the main lake in the clear water. But another thing that's also going on is there's a bluegill spawn going on. So a lot of times on them bluegill beds, if you can find the beds in, you know, 3 to 6 foot of water, a popping bait works good. You can throw a whopper plopper. One of my favorite baits to throw is this little Cyclone Junior, where I can work it like a whopper plopper fast, or I can work it like a popper and just pop and let the bait spit. Some of the guys catch them on glide baits up there shallow. And one of my tournament strategies was going to be, I was catching some real good fish on square bills up in the upper river arms, real shallow. And the bait that was working real good for me was a Hunter 65 Spro. And I'm trying to think, the chartreuse and blue, but the other one is it's more of a citrus shad is what I'm trying to think. It was working real well for me. And these fish were around any kind of wood, any kind of laydowns. But it worked good for me in practice, but when I went up there tournament day, they weren't on the wood where they were, and I did not adjust to where they had moved to. Another guy that was up in the same area as I was kind of readjusted and went to a jig and a wobblehead, even in that shallower water, and the fish seemed like they wanted something dead slow instead of the crankbait and the reaction bait. So, I mean, I just didn't adjust well enough, so I decided just to run around, fish everything I knew in the lake, which didn't work out. But, you know, anyways, there's a lot of fish biting. It gets a little chaos out there after about, 11 or 12 o'clock. But even with, throughout the heat of the day, I know I've talked about this AFCO hoodie and stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to sell them or push them, but it's unbelievable how much cooler they keep you when it's 100 degrees out there and there's no wind. I don't know exactly what they're built out of, but when you sweat, it actually helps cool yourself down. So if you're going to be spending long days out there in this heat, you need to check into these AFCO hoodies. But, like I say, for the most part, you can fish just about any way you want. If you get out there early, boat traffic's not bad at all till about 10 o'clock. But you can catch them shallow or deep. I'm just finding that when you find a big group of fish and bait fish in an area, you just need to slow way down. A Carolina rig will work. Big swim baits will work. You just got to kind of mix it up to see what it takes to trigger the fish. And they seem like there's a good early bite, and maybe it's because of the full moon we had last week. Then it gets real slow till like 11 or 12 o'clock in the heat of the day. They seem to fire up and, bite real good again. But, we were fishing over some deeper trees up here in the James today. We were sitting in like 50 foot of water, and the trees come up to about 15 to 20 foot. And them fish were just stacked up in that 12 to 15 foot range where you catch them drop after drop. And it lasted probably 30 minutes or so, and then they stop. And you got to just kind of mill around, try to find another tree or another group of fish and get them fired back up. But till next week, good luck, good fishing.